our agenda for today. We'll be trying to answer a few questions, specifically the ones I have listed here. We'll be talking about, well, I'm talking about this in the first place. What is end-to-end testing? What is a framework called Playwright? What is codeless test automation? And then a couple of codeless test automation frameworks, such as Katalon Studio and Tricentis Testim, as well as something that you might be able to call a codeless test automation framework, that being Playwright's test generation feature. We'll then explore what actual QA specialists think about everything I will discuss, and what are the possible use cases of these frameworks. All right, so why am I talking about this? Well, I first started thinking about this topic about a year ago now, when I saw this quote by someone called Jensen Huang, the CEO of a small company called NVIDIA. He said this: "It is our job to create computing technology such that nobody has to program. And now that the programming language is human, everybody in the world is a programmer. This is the miracle of artificial intelligence." Now, what is really being said here? Basically, coding is dead. The future of software development is through natural language. This will be enabled through AI, because AI is awesome. And this will enable people without a lot of technical knowledge and skill to do tasks that previously required a lot of it. But is this really the case? I wanted to explore that, and I thought the best way of doing that would be to tackle a specific issue and see if that line of thinking applies here. So I thought, testing feels like a topic that's not really covered enough in the Progress Open Edge community and the software development community in general. And I also thought, let's get even more specific, web technologies, right? Everything now is moving from desktop and everything else to the web. And a type of testing that is particularly relevant for web applications is end-to-end testing. So I wanted to explore codeless test automation frameworks for end-to-end tests using AI. Bless you. But what is this end-to-end testing that I'm talking about? Well, end-to-end tests test the entire application flow via the user interface by simulating user behavior. Their purpose is to demonstrate that all components work as a whole, all components of the system. And they're important because they help catch real-world bugs missed by lower-level tests, as well as they're important for regression testing, aka making sure that your application continues to work like you expect as it gets modified over time. Now, I think the best way to show you what I mean when I'm talking about end-to-end testing is through a concrete solution. The one we'll talk about is called Playwright. Playwright is an open source test automation framework that tests web applications across all modern browsers. Its key features is that, as I mentioned, it's open source, runs across many browsers, everything powered by Chromium as well as Firefox and WebKit. It's a framework that can be used through a variety of different languages, such as JavaScript or TypeScript, Python, Java, and C#. And it's a pretty sophisticated framework that allows you to test modern, more complex web features. It works by you writing a test script, and then which describes the steps that you want to simulate of your website. And then when the script is run, the Playwright engine mimics those steps in real time. Again, lots of words, might not be very clear what I'm actually talking about, so I'll show a quick demo. Right. So if I open up VS Code here, you will see nothing.
A few moments later.
OK. Let's forget the last 10 minutes happened and keep moving forward. I'll make this part quicker, but this is what I meant. If you open up VS Code, this is just what the test looks like. As mentioned, similar feel and look to Ken Herring's open ABL unit test runner. Just run a script. Here's the before each statement, like you would see with the before each annotation for unit tests. Here I'm just saying that before each test, go to this website. Specifically, the test is of this Playwright documentation site, like any other documentation site you might see. And this test, for example, is basically just saying, hey, once we're in this website, the title of the test is Get Started link. Get this link that has the name Get Started. Afterwards, you expect, aka assert, that in the heading of the page, there will be an item with a title text, and you expect it to be visible, right? If you were to run it, and wait a little while, you'll see that the page pops up. It clicks Get Started. We can close this, and it says that the test has passed. Wow, technology, fantastic. Moving on. Demo over for now. But what is codeless test automation? Well, codeless test automation allows users to create, execute, and maintain automated tests without writing code. This enables fast and accessible automation for everyone, not just programmers. I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but it basically enables more people to automate, speeds up releases, helps catch more bugs, even if you can't code. Would be very awesome. But again, let's explore a concrete example, such as Tricentis Testim. Testim markets itself as an AI-powered test automation tool that lets users create web application UI tests quickly using recording and a visual editor. Bless you. Codeless, its key features are that it's codeless. It has AI-powered self-healing, which basically means that as minor things might change in your application, it would use AI to adapt to those and not be dependent on them, which will make your tests longer lasting. It supports web testing in all major browsers and offers modular tests with reusable components, meaning you could, over time, create them quicker and more efficiently. As I mentioned before, it functions via a recorder. You basically record your steps on the screen. It uses that to create a visual flow diagram representing the steps that you took, and then you can edit and fine-tune that script. Now, I would love to show a live demo. Actually, maybe I wouldn't. But it has, Tricentis Testim has a pretty short free trial period. And that ran out a while ago, so I'll show a quick video. Over here. Basically, this is what the UI of Tricentis Testim looks like. It's a web app. Once you open it up, you can click Create Test. And I'll just do this real quick. Subsequently, enter your URL of the website you want to test. In this case, again, the Playwright documentation page for consistency. And once we do that, we see that it pops up. We're informed that the test is being recorded. And we can click Get Started. And that's all we'll do for now. As we can see, we now have a very small flowchart with 2 steps, going to the website and clicking Get Started. We can build upon this test by clicking Start Record again. We pick up where we left off. We're recording again. And this time, we'll want to validate that in the search bar, we can find the documentation for Docker. So we'll type in Docker and click Introduction. We can stop recording again. And we see that our flowchart has been modified with a few extra steps. And now, another cool thing that Tricentis Testim can do is you can add some more intricate predefined steps to your test case, such as, for example, maybe once we search up Docker, we want to validate that on the screen we can see the text introduction before we actually tell the test to click on the introduction. To do that, we will first need to add a breakpoint. I think I take my time here. Yeah, toggle breakpoint. Toggle breakpoint, thank you. At the point at which we want to add an extra step, then we close the test browser and run the test up until the point of the breakpoint. Right, takes a little bit of time. It ran up to there. We can lower the window and we're informed that we reached the breakpoint. At this point, we can click Test and Predefined Steps and add, for example, a text validation. Once we click that, here we can see that we can click the introduction text, and an extra step has been added, of validation. Maybe for the interest of time, I won't show the rest of that. It's basically, I run the test again, and it works. So nothing super crazy to see there. But OK. What is Katalon Studio? Thank God. Katalon Studio is another codeless test automation framework. It's an all-in-one codeless and low-code test automation platform for end-to-end testing. Its key features are that it offers codeless and script-based automation utilizing a scripting language called Groovy. It supports web as well as API, mobile, and desktop testing. It works by you designing these tests with a similar record and playback feature as we saw with Tricentis Testim. But you can also modify these steps with code if you want to. Quick demo. Let's see. There we go. Now, Tricentis Testim as Katalon Studio, as opposed to Tricentis Testim, is a full-fledged desktop application, not just a web app. And as you can see from the general feel of it, it looks a lot more comprehensive and complex. Could be a good or a bad thing. But if we want to create an end-to-end test, we click this little record web icon over here. We provide the URL we want to test and click record. This opens up a testing browser. And again, we can do the same steps. Click Get Started, search up Docker, and click Introduction. Once we feel we're done, we can click Save Script. Click OK over here. Give our test case a name. Demo test case. And bam, we have our test case over here. Now, as you can see, as opposed to a visual flow diagram here, this is just a table. And in the table, we see some more abstract steps defining the actions that we took while testing our web application. Opening the browser, navigating, clicking, setting the text, blah, blah, blah. So the interesting thing here is that Katalon Studio utilizes these more abstract steps and makes actual Groovy script implementations based on them. So if you're a more technical person, you can actually see what's happening here. But you can also just use this and have these abstract steps without needing to know code. Now, you can modify them, but from my experience, it's more difficult to modify these steps in a codeless way compared to Tricentis Testim, where you have an obvious UI to add steps. Here, you would usually do it by adding script elements. But OK. Back to the slides. So what is Playwright test generation? We already know what Playwright is. Playwright test generation is basically a tool that is a part of Playwright that lets you, again, record your steps that you want to test. But this time, it just uses them to generate Playwright test code. Now, it's very questionable whether this is truly codeless. But in a way, it's a way you could theoretically just record your steps, have generated code, and not need to understand anything of it. And also, this is an open source framework, meaning it's free, which is an upside. How it works is you launch Playwright, interact with the app, record, and it generates the script. Last demo, I swear. Quick little showcase. If we have Playwright open, we can and click this testing tab in Visual Studio Code. We see that there is a record new button we can click. If we do that, hopefully, we will open up a web page where we, again, can describe the steps that we want our test to do. Click Get Started, search, Docker introduction. And once we're done, we can click Stop and close the web page. And we can see that the equivalent test has been generated. We didn't need to write or understand everything. Magic. So back to the slides again. That is all fun and dandy, but what do actual QA specialists think about all this? I'm a junior developer. I can play around, but I don't really know how valuable any of this is. So what I did was I asked a couple of quality assurance automation engineers from our Progress Open Edge unit to test out these frameworks and give me some feedback about them. My strategy for this was I wrote a more complex test case, which would actually mimic something that you might see in the real world. I wanted to ask my colleagues to implement this test case with the frameworks that we just saw, examine in what ways they implement some of the more complex features needed for the test case I provided, and then receive feedback, see how they did, so on. This is the test case that I gave. You don't need to read through all of it. The basic gist of it is it utilized a simple connection timed out. Wow. It utilized a demo e-commerce website. It's a type of site that has similar UI to just any other e-commerce website that you might see, like Amazon. It's used by testers to just play around, learn how to write tests, and so on. And I told them, hey, go to the site, go through the regular registration and logging process, as well as go through the purchase creation process, meaning select an item, go to the cart, pay, and all of that good stuff. But I handed them in the test case. A few days go by, and I run into an issue, specifically around this step, because I think Jakubas, a 3 days after I handed him the test case, said, "Hey boss, I can't do this test codelessly," meaning the only way he could figure out a way to create these test cases was through incorporating script elements. And I had specifically asked him to do it codelessly, if possible. So my strategy changed a little bit. I instead chose to examine in what ways these frameworks fail to complete real-world test cases. So let's explore that for a little bit. Let's take another look at this test case, specifically this part. This is the part that was meant to check the registering and logging in process. A user registers, logs out, and logs back in with the same details during the test. Now, the issue here is, imagine you're using any of the 3 tools we used, and how do you, while recording your steps, say, hey, give me a randomized first name, a randomized last name, and a randomized email address, right? That's not something that you can do with that type of feature. For example, in Katalon Studio, that's Slack. Don't mind that. With Katalon Studio, how this is done is you literally just define variables. And I don't know if you can see that very well, but you use little bits of script to generate random variables. And that's not very codeless, really. A very similar story with Tricentis Testim. They have features for that, but they're really reliant on using script elements. Then let's take a look at this step. I asked to locate the first product and click the heart icon, add to wish list. By which I mean, in the website, we saw something like this. This is a list of all possible monitors in the e-commerce website. And I wanted the test case to add the first item in this list to the user's wish list. Now, again, let's imagine any of the 3 tools that we explored. How do you specify while recording that I want you to choose this first element, right? If you were to use them, what would happen is the test case would describe you clicking the item that has the name Apple Cinema 30 inches. And if any other item would switch around places and become in the first spot, then your test would break. You can't do that very seamlessly or easily without incorporating some kind of logic. And the easiest way to do that is through scripting. For example, this is my colleague's attempt at implementing the test case utilizing Playwright test generation. And he's left some comments where he described which places he needs to change in order to complete the test case, right? A lot of these parts are related to being able to use randomized first name, email, and password values. There's some more interesting ones, though, as well, specifically related to what I talked about. Over here. This line is specifically related to picking the first element. Now, here, if you're using scripting, you can simply just say, hey, find this first div element. If you understand what HTML is, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, the list of possible monitors is a div element with nested div elements inside of it. And you just say, hey, find me the first one, hover over it, and then click it. You can't describe that type of logic easily with any of the frameworks that we looked at. back to the slides a little bit. And I think that's the last time I went off of them. Another thing I asked for was to upload an image. Just so you know, specifically, I asked to upload this image. You needed to do it for some reason to complete the purchasing workflow, but cute cat. Now, this is very technical to get into, so maybe I won't bother you, but how do you specify, while you're recording your steps, upload an image for me, right? Usually, this involves opening up your actual file explorer, choosing a file from your PC. This requires a sort of environment setup and more complex logic than any of these tools could accomplish. And this also applies to not just images, but any sort of file uploading. So if you have that in your website, you can't test that with these frameworks. But it is something that is possible and gets done while working with more traditional code-based frameworks. Yet again. So what are our takeaways here? Tricentis, Testim, Katalon Studio, and Playwright code generation work based on recording your actions, and in the case of Tricentis, Testim, turning them into visual flow diagrams, which then you can edit. Katalon Studio records your actions and converts them to abstract steps, which then could be given concrete implementations in a script language. Playwright code generation skips the abstract part and just records your steps and gives you concrete implementations. Our general consensus between me and our QAs was that Tricentis, Testim, and Katalon Studio are decent solutions for simple UIs without complex features if you want just some simple coverage and don't want to hire a QA. But if you want a more comprehensive application testing suite, then Playwright or any other testing framework is a better solution. Playwright CodeGen could be a helpful tool in the hands of someone that actually knows what they're doing and is a real QA. But right, you still need a real QA to use it. Now, for pricing, thought this would be interesting to mention. Tricentis Testim isn't very transparent about their pricing schemes. In their website, if you go there, it basically just tells you to contact a salesperson, and they'll give you a customized pricing scheme. I did find some feedback from users online, not the kind of pricing that they did receive, and it was usually $3,000 per year for a user group of 1 to 5 users. For Katalon Studio, it was $1,000. They have a couple of pricing schemes, but they're either $1,000 or $2,000 per year per user. And Playwright, and by extent, Playwright code generation, is open source, so it is free. Well, besides QA hiring expenses, but oh well. All right. Any questions, possibly?